Halloween is right around the corner, and what better time to be creative and make up your own character for the night? This year I decided I'd be a glamorous 20s flapper with a dark side, whose decadent party got brutally interrupted by murder. And the killer has yet to be found. Starting off with a bare face, I apply my trusty foundation, Synchro Skin by Shiseido. I'm using the shade Neutral 2 mainly because I'm quite fair-skinned already, but also because the 20s meant really pale skin, so I wouldn't recommend you use a darker foundation for this look. I'm applying the foundation with my EcoTools Fluffy Brush. This is great for foundation and powder application, and it came in a set of 5 brushes that were super affordable. I really admire their resilience since I've had them for a couple of years now and they still hold up, and the little hairs don't flake everywhere. You'll see this look is quite easy to create, and this is the first time I've actually done it, and if I can do it, being no expert, you can do it as well. So after applying the foundation, I'm adding a brightening effect with this shadow from Bourjois. It's actually an eyeshadow called Ombre à Paupières, so paper shadows basically, and it's shade number 5. As you can see, it's a very light, cold pink shade, and I will be applying it all over the face, neck and décolletage to make the whole area lighter and more illuminated, to mimic the 20s preferred makeup look. For the eyes, I'll use the Naked One palette, and I'm starting off with the shade Virgin for an all-over neutral, creamy eyelid wash. Then I'm smudging the shade Gunmetal, which is a metallic grey, on all of the eyelid, going over the crease, because that's how the ladies of the time would wear their eyeshadow. By the way, I'm using the brush that came with the palette, the more compact end that allows for better pigment depositing, and then the fluffier end for diffusing the shadow. I'm also using the black shade Creep to accent my crease and the outer corners of my eyes. Then I take the shade Hustle, which is a reddish brown, and start smudging it on the bottom lid to start setting that tear-stained look. I also used Sin, which is a frosty pinky beige, in the inner corners of my eyes, just for some contrasting with the darker eyeshadow. After all, you want the overall effect to be a bit jarring because hello, Halloween. You can also apply some red eyeshadow or even a blush. Mine is actually a blush from Black Up and it's shade number 12. And with a thin liner brush, I apply the shade on the bottom lid next to the lashes to give your eyes that look like you've just been crying. And now for the fun part, the actual tears. For this effect, I say the simpler the better. I took a small cup of water and dipped my makeup brush in it, the fluffier end. And then I gently dabbed the already deposited Hustle eyeshadow and started dragging it down the cheeks. The same way you used to paint with pastels in school when you would paint leaves on trees. I'm also using my liner brush dipped in gunmetal for a running mascara effect. Afterwards, I just saturate the brush in water and roll it under my eyes, so then the water just streaks my cheeks, taking the makeup with it. And of course, you can gently dab your face with a tissue, just as you would when you're crying actually, to make the whole look more natural and real. Very much damsel in distress, right? And you can always use an eye pencil to line the lash line and smudge it around a bit. Mine is from Douglas, their own brand of makeup, and it's shade number 1, called Back to Black. The idea is that you should draw the eyelids in a more downward line, as that was the look du jour. And of course, at the end, black mascara. I'm using Laneige String Long Lash Mascara for that slightly creepy spider lash doll eye effect. And after the mascara, we go on to the eyebrows. Again, the women of the interwar period would draw their eyebrows in a more downward line, usually elongating them past their natural line. Now this is the first time I've actually painted my eyebrows on, as I don't fill them in or color them in any way. I figured they're strong enough as they are. So I thought it might be good to get my first time doing this on camera so we can all have a good laugh together. And for my eyebrows, I'm using a mix of Hustle and Creep for a dark brown look. You never want to paint your eyebrows on black, even if your natural color is close to black, because it will look extremely harsh. I have to say this Halloween look was inspired by The House at Riverton. It's a gripping book which also centers around the mystery murder. And I've been drawing visual inspiration also from a new series I've been watching on Netflix called Cable Girls, the plot of which is also catalyzed by a murder that becomes cause for blackmail. I'm trying not to spoil anything here, but I would really recommend the series. Anyway, this is nothing new for me. I've always had a weakness for the roaring 20s, for mystery crime novels set in that time, and for the style of that decade. I'm absolutely in love with that period's air of liberation and decadence, which is reflected in the women's clothes, in their makeup, in their hairstyle, and their attitudes. And I have to say, my love for this style also led me to choose the dress I wore for the first dance at our wedding. I figured this style is perfect for opening the dance floor. And since now the dress is sitting pretty in my closet, I thought Halloween gives me the perfect opportunity to take it out for a spin again, this time in full 20s gear. And finally, the lipstick. I'm going for the Matissime liquid lipstick from Douglas in the shade Matte Cherry, or Matte Cherie, as the times called for a darker, more opaque lip. And one thing I'd point out for this sort of look is to make sure your cupid's bow is extremely well defined. And again, I'm using my liner brush, which I've washed in the meantime, or you can just use a different one of course, to carefully line the lips. I'm also lining my mouth in such a way to make it look smaller and poutier than it actually is, as that is what the ladies in the 20s would do. Then I just fill in the lips with the lipstick's doe foot applicator. And I correct any lines and any edges that I don't like with foundation and my compact makeup brush. This way you can also cover the corners of your mouth to change its shape into a smaller one. A deceivingly angelic look for this 20s partygoer. So now that the makeup is done, we move on to the hair. As you know, the 20s preferred style was big, clean waves, usually on short hair, or at least a bob. So I'll be showing you a really easy to do faux bob, in case you're not really keen on actually cutting your hair. First, for the waves, I'm prepping my hair with the Heat Styling Protection Spray from Moroccan Oil. I love this product for any sort of hairstyle that requires heat, because it's a great protectant and also gives a bit of hold, which always helps. And after spritzing it on, I really like to work it into the strands and comb it through with my fingers. Then I'll be using my Babyliss Ceramic Curling Wand Pro, which I couldn't be happier with, to make tight barrel roll curls. You want to go with thinner sections and start at a somewhat similar point on each strand of hair, so that in the end the curls form a pattern. Très glam, don't you think? And to pull off a faux bob, all you need to do is gather your hair and tie it with a simple hair tie really close to the ends, sort of like an extra loose ponytail. Then you start rolling up that ponytail, keeping the hair ends and the hair tie as a sort of center to roll your hair around. And once you reach the nape of your neck, take a few bobby pins and secure the hair roll. Ta-da! Really easy, right? And don't worry about those loose tendrils, you can keep them like that for a more disheveled look, like you had been running away in distress. Or you can of course pin them back together with the rest of your bun, like I chose to do here. Now for the headpiece. 20s ladies would always have lavish head decorations, usually silk or lace headbands with feathers or encrusted gemstones. But hey, what do you know, not everybody has one of those just casually lying around the house. At least I don't. So I'll show you how to easily DIY one such piece. All you need is a necklace. It can be a really simple one or a more elaborate, intricate design that you just knot at the back of your head. You can leave a bit of it dangling, I think it just adds to the whole decorative aspect of it. And to make sure it won't budge throughout the night, you can also secure it with a bobby pin or two. And then you can add whatever you want to it. In my case, I chose brooches, yet another use for these delightful accessories. So my trick for securing a brooch to your hair is either attaching a hair clip to it, or again, if you don't have one handy, just tie a small hair tie to it. It can be clear or the color of your hair or even black, either way it will be practically invisible. And then use a bobby pin to go through the hair tie for extra grip, and this way you will secure the brooch to your hair. It was really the easiest way to accomplish this, as it did take me a few attempts to figure out the best method of securing the brooch. And you can probably tell this from my slightly disheveled look, but the best part about this do is that you can let it be really messy, and actually I encourage you to mess up your hair a little bit, because in the end your flapper persona has barely escaped the grip of a murderer and is running for dear life. Now it's time to put your best 20s dress on and search for a strapping detective to help you find the murderer at your party. Or maybe the murderer is already by his side.